Hey guys, here we go into a video on Demetrius Andrade, and we're going to be discussing whether or not he's an A-level fighter. It's actually really interesting because for a long time, I guess he's kind of been under my radar. Not having a lot of big fights, it's tougher to gauge how good someone is fighting, lower tier opposition, and there are just so many good fighters out there nowadays that it's kind of hard to keep up with them all. But I'm kind of excited about Demetrius Andrade. I think that he's become one of those fighters that I might not miss his fights anymore for no good reason, unless there's a party or whatever. But let's go ahead and get into it. First thing, right, appears that he kind of like throws a jab off of timing, right, kind of exploding out of his guard. I'm not a big fan of stepping with your shots. It becomes easy to time you, but Demetrius Andrade is going to look really good in the rest of this fight. That's the only part that I don't really like of him. And if you also watch, if you can see his feet, he steps with his toes first. We'll talk about that later. But just pay attention to his active guard right now. Really, really, really important for the way that the style of fighting that he has. Notice how he's constantly transitioning his weight, changing levels, giving his opponent different looks. All this stuff right here, especially this, right? He's going to lean forward. Boom. Boom. That little rock right there to the front foot. This is the same motion that you throw a right hand with, right? Notice he's picking up his left foot, or sorry, his left hand that you land a left hand with. Notice he's picking up his left foot as he does it. Boom. That's because that's when you're transitioning your weight. So he's transitioning his weight back to his foot right there. But as we're going to see, he has a very active guard. He's giving his opponent different looks, feinting him again. And again, this is the same motion, right? Boom. And then transitioning his weight around, right, circling. That's the same motion that you would land a straight left hand with. And notice how he comes out of it, right? Transfers weight all to his front leg, right? And then he's able to kind of, as he's transferring his weight, spring out a jab, and catch his opponent off guard, right? And that's like the beauty of having an active guard. Is that it hides your punches. It allows it to be, that's your first layer of offense, is your opponent has to figure out where you're coming from, right? A lot of fighters will stand up straight and they'll just come straight forward. They won't be rocking around, giving your opponent different looks. Having an active guard, I like to call it. And it's really easy to tell where the punches are coming from, and when they're going to come, because your opponent just kind of explodes out of their guard. But this is just a really fantastic way to hide his offense. And as you'll see here in these clips, he's going to use that knowledge that he gets from his opponent. So right here, boom, shifts his weight to his front leg, and look at how he gives him a like just ducking right there, right? That's a feint, right? He's changing positions. And he's seeing how his opponent reacts to it. And he sees that his opponent does not react to it in a way that would stop him from getting hit with a left hand. So he's going to touch gloves, come forward, do the same motion, change levels, and then fire a rocket left hand to his opponent's body. Now, this is the exact same motion that he uses here. So he uses that active guard to set that shot up and see if his opponent is going to be able to take advantage, see if his opponent is looking to counter, and then he sees that there was no reaction from his opponent, so now he's able to use the same motion, boom, and attack, and get a free punch, basically. A free punch in a fight against someone who trains to fight. That's remarkable, you guys. And then even more importantly, after he lands that shot, he doesn't transition his weight from his front leg back to his back leg, right, which would keep him on line with his opponent. He rolls off, gets off the line, and then makes sure that his head is in a new position. Boom, rolls, and that's what you call a responsible defense. And that is one of the most important parts of being a good fighter, and mitigating risk is making sure that you are taking lengths to get your opponent out of position or see if they're out of position with your feints and with your probes and with your active guard, and then to attack, and then after you attack, how you defend yourself after you attack. Because that's when you're vulnerable, is when you're attacking your opponent, because you're committing your weight and putting yourself out of position. Now, the idea behind positioning, for those of you that don't know, is that if you're not in position to catch, block, slip, roll, or, take a step back from any punch, absolutely any punch that your opponent could possibly throw, then you're out of position. Because ideally, you're always in position to offend your opponent or defend yourself. And when you punch, you're breaking one of those rules. So after you punch, you have to get off the line, or you have to control your opponent, or you just have to do something to make sure that you're not allowing the information that your opponent currently has to dictate whether or not they're going to be able to land a punch against you. I guess that's the best way to say it. But as you can see, great work here too. Great feinting and great use of the knowledge of his feints as well in this clip. See how he feints him right there, stepping with the jab, and his opponent goes, oh, I'll catch that jab. And then he feints him again. Oh, I'm going to catch that jab. And then he feints him a third time, and then he throws a straight left hand instead, expecting his opponent to slip into it while trying to catch the jab, right? It doesn't work here, but that's not the point. He's paying attention to how his opponent is reacting to his feints, and then he's setting up offense off of it. And I'm not sure if it's a left hand to the body or if it's a left hand and it kind of just hits him in the arm. The angle is kind of weird. I think it hits him in the arm. It was supposed to go for his chin, but he's using that knowledge, and that's very important. And then again right here, beautiful boxing. He's going to transition his weight to his left side, right? And then as you come back this way, that's the timing that you would shoot a straight left hand. Then he goes back and then shoots the straight left hand right through the guard. Just beautiful boxing. Rock, rock, boom. And then beautiful weight transitions, able to hide his offense from his opponent. And again, hide his offense from his opponent. Boom, boom. Now, he's not without his flaws. So this is going to be one of the criticisms, or one of the things that he might have to overcome, is the way that he reacts to punches. Now, most of his movement is off of an active guard, as you see here, right? So he could slip a jab to the inside of his opponent, slip a jab to the outside of the opponent when he puts his weight on his left side, from his left side to his right side, right? But when his opponent throws his punches here, he transfers his weight to his back leg, and then he takes a step back instead of transferring his weight again. So 2 attacks come, right? Boom, right? And now he needs to move his head off the line to the other side to get away from this shot, but he stays on that side, and that makes him susceptible to being feinted and then attacked while he's in this position, because he makes one weight transfer, and then he doesn't change head slots after. And that's a really, really big problem. That's one of the easiest ways to get feinted into an attack, is by responding poorly to the first one, or just not transitioning your weight for each attack. You kind of get stuck in a position. And as you see here again, he does the same thing. When his opponent throws 2 punches at him, bop, bop, and he keeps his head on that side of the line rather than moving it across and transitioning his weight. But aside from that, all intents and purposes, looking like a very good fighter. And again, right, transferring his weight to his front leg. Oh, what do you think about that? And his opponent doesn't think anything of it, and he's able to steal a free punch to the body because his opponent is not stopping him from transferring his weight there. He's not trying to control him back by feinting him when he puts himself in that position. And he's not reacting to that shot either, right? As you see, his opponent, when he transitions his weight, he's just coming forward, right? Not really responding, and then easily feinted out of position, thinking it's going to be another jab and eats another shot to the body. But again, very, very bad for defense here. For defense, when his opponent goes to attack him, feint, and then he keeps his head on that side of the wall, or on that side of the line, right? And allows his opponent to throw a punch at him. I know it looks like he's got good defense here, but you just want to be transitioning your weight better rather than moving back in a straight line, because that's what moving back in a straight line means. It means that you're not transferring your weight when you move. And if his opponent, started putting in double or triple feints in there, he might be able to eventually catch him. And that is a problem, especially when you consider if he's going to be fighting someone like Canelo Alvarez. Now, again, this is great work. Look at how when he's on the line with his opponent, right, ducking down this way. Oh, that could be a jab. He could be shooting a jab right there while he gets a look here. Now he's getting a look here. He could be shooting a left hand, right? Now he could be shooting a jab again, or jab to the body. As you see, he does right there too. He shoots a jab upstairs. Boom, boom, bop, and then steals a free punch to the body again. just completely controlling his opponent. And every time that he transitions his weight, his opponent is now starting to use his left glove, right? If you can see his left glove, control him, right? And he has to use his lead hand. His opponent has to use his lead hand to try and control Demetrius Andrade because he has too many options, and his opponent cannot figure out which one he's looking to use because Demetrius Andrade has all the control. Now, this is a great little section right here, this next clip, shooting the jab off that front foot, then shooting the jab off that front foot, boom, and then bam, landing a great left hand right there. Just go ahead and watch that sequence. Jab off the front foot. Now he's going to feint him right here, boom, and gets him to bring his lead hand out there. And he says, oh, okay, cool, you're doing that. Feints him again, like with this little handshake, right? Bop, feint, boom, boom, boom. Just watch his lead hand again. And then walks him into that straight left hand. Great feinting and great confidence. And notice, look at how close he is to his opponent, and his hand is quote-unquote down, right? But he has control of his opponent, and he knows what his opponent's going to do when he reacts, so he doesn't have to have his hands up at all times. Using the information that he has from his opponent and how his opponent is going to react, he's able to save not only a lot of mental energy, but a lot of physical energy as well. Although, I would never say, oh, just keep your hands down to somebody. But because he knows he has this control over his opponent, he knows that when he feints him, he's going to bring that glove out. When he feints him, he's going to bring that glove out. And he's going to be able to land these shots. So very good job from him using the information that he has about his opponent to inform all of his decisions about the fight. And not using some anti-contextual way of saying this is how you do it. But anyway, the one criticism that I do have of him for his technique, otherwise it's phenomenal. It's really good. The one criticism is when he steps from his toe to his heel. Watch his front foot there. Boom. And that's going to put him in positions like the one you see at the end of the clip, where his opponent might be able to catch him. Notice how he has to pull back all his weight really like last second, and he still almost gets hit. I'm having a little bit of a hard time because it's at the end of the clip. But if you notice, it's really hard to get your weight back after you commit your weight through your toes, because your weight kind of transfers through. Something similar that Mikey Garcia is having trouble with, or he does have trouble with. But it's really difficult, and if he fights a guy who has a good left hook, Canelo Alvarez, he might be able to take advantage of that and land some good shots, or even a straight right hand would be really great if your opponent is stepping with his jab. You just slip to the outside of it and throw a straight right hand. So that still might wind up being something that he has to worry about, especially against someone who has good head movement. Might be able to slip to the outside a little quicker than his opponent here. But other than that, phenomenal fighting. Great fighting. I like that he doesn't step with all of his punches, just his jab. And not even all the times is he stepping with his jab either. So a really, really good fighter. Very, very solid. I'll be looking forward to seeing him develop and add more craft to his game. He has a decent amount of craft right now, but figuring out a way to kind of settle down with his defense, he needs to do that. Figure out how to slip 1-2s, get a little bit better at that rather than pulling away from one and jumping off the line to get away from the other, because it's not always going to work that way. Whereas if you're feinted and you use a weight transition to get away from that shot, you can always find another weight transition, always. But as soon as you start moving back in a straight line, you run out of ways to transition your weight, and you put yourself into a very, very bad position. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let me know if anybody is picking Sulecki for a win. And also, don't forget to check out FouchBoxing.com. I'll be writing articles. I'll be writing one actually about Artem Lobov's performance against Paulie Malignaggi. Yeah, we got the GOAT versus the Magic Man. What a fun fight that was. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.